Hello everyone, and this is going to be another episode of Sicx Tarot. Now in this video I'm going to be doing a brief breakdown of the basic structure of tarot cards. Now a standard tarot card deck has 78 cards broken down into two sections, major and minor. So these are the selection of the major tarot. Now for this video I'll be using the Rider Waite deck. Now any person who starts using tarot cards or is taught to do tarot cards, the Rider Waite is the deck that is taught. Now these aren't the oldest cards available, but these are the most popular for beginners. Now for the major tarot, they're referred to as majors and minors. You've got the major arcana and minor arcana. Arcana being Latin for secret, which is kind of cool. So the majors are the big steps you take in your journey. So it starts off with the Fool as 0 and ends with the World at 21. So a standard tarot card deck has 22 major arcana cards. Now these are kind of based, these tarot cards were kind of constructed around the 1400s. So a lot of the imagery devised from the tarot are quite medieval. Now the Rider Waites were created in the early 30s, so there is still a medieval look to them. However, they are relatively modern. So the idea of the tarot, the major arcana, is the Fool starts at 0 because it's at the beginning, and it makes its way through what's referred to as the Fool's journey. Now the Fool's journey is about just self-discovery and goes through all the trials and tribulations that go through life. Now I'm not going to name all these as I go through, it's going to be a quick aside, and what I'm going to do in future videos, I'll be breaking down the majors into, basically just do a separate video talking about each individual card from the majors. So what else is there to know? So that is the standard major. Now we have the minors. Now the minor tarot are the minor arcana are done slightly differently. They are broken down into 4 different groups. They are broken down to wands, swords, pentacles and chalices. You see there. So these break down, and these have 12 cards each. So the suit goes from 1 to 10, and then you have 4 court cards. So these are kind of similar. These are kind of similar to where we get the concept of playing cards. So in playing card terms, the wands would be the clubs, swords would be the spades, pentacles would be the diamonds, and the chalices would be the hearts. Now the reason for that is these are broken down, and they represent different jobs in the medieval times. So the wand is the peasants, the peasantry, so the farmers, the hard workers and the grafters. And the wands represent creation, imagination, creativity and kind of hard work. Now the swords represent the military. So this would be for conflict, conversation and general forms of communication. Now the pentacles represent money, and these are for the merchants of the times. So this card would the pentacles represent money, finances, business and health. Whilst the cups, also known as chalices, are represented by the church. So the chalices themselves represent feelings, emotions, love, relationships. Now all of these also have their own element. You've got the element of fire, air, earth and water. Makes things a little easier that way. And then so when you start to learn to read, you can also factor in the spiritual elements that come with these. Now, as I said before, you've got these that go down from 1 to 10. So I just use the swords in this regard. So you go from 1 to 10. Obviously that one. Now, each major card, each of the minors, each of these have different patterns to them and different designs because they represent different symbols. And at the end, you have the court cards. Now, the court cards themselves more represent people rather than emotions, rather than situations. These are more akin to actual people in their actions. So, as I'm using the swords, you have the page. Depending on the deck, sometimes these are referred to as the page or the knave. Then you've got the knight, the queen, and then the king. Now, once again, if you want to compare these to normal playing cards, you could also got the king and the queen, and the knight and the page would necessarily be the jack. So ostensibly you can use playing cards to do tarot card readings as well. So what would wind up happening is you can have a spread. Let's move this up, for example. And so the aces with these cards with tarot are usually representative of the beginning of an idea. So the Ace of Wands, for example, is a new creative project, a new business opportunity, whilst you would have here the Ace of Coins, or Pentacles in this regard, and that would represent maybe a new job, new money prospects, new opportunities in finance. Then you would have the Ace of Swords, which would represent more of a new conflict or a new struggle or a new situation which you have to work through. And once again, the Ace of Cups would represent more a new relationship, a new direction for your heart to go into. Once again, it does depend on where it lands in the reading. So that's kind of how most tarot cards are broken down into. So the major arcana wind up being 22 cards. The minors wind up breaking down into 4 sets of 14. So you'd have 56 cards in total, making a full deck of 78. Now, some tarot card decks do their own thing. Some alter the major arcana, some alter the minors. And through later videos, we'll be talking about those and seeing what sort of changes they make. Well, I hope you liked that video. Once again, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and obviously follow me on Twitter at Sicx Tarot, and stay tuned for my next video. See you.